Question 5. I need to know what radical we're dealing with. Please write that in its radical form. Just the part that I circled in green would be nice. Which radical are we dealing with? Write it in its exponential form. You should have the cube root of 4 for that part. What about the next part? Cube root of 16. Which means we are dealing with the cube root of what single number? It's not the cube root of 4. 4 times 16 is not 4. Now, I think I know what you're saying, but I think you're, what is 4 times 16 again? 60 what? 64. Now, what is the cube root of 64? 4. Somebody asked me last period, why can't I just type that in my calculator? Because you won't get credit. I need to see that you understand how to change it to radicals, put it together, then you can use your calculator. So, this is the time you can use a calculator from here. But you must combine them together first to show your work. This is why we take notes, so you know what I expect. Okay, jump down to, are we already on 10? Okay. Okay, now, you will need a calculator for this. The question says the optimal height of the letters of a message printed on pavement. Okay? So, think about letters that are printed on a runway or something where you're up above. It's printed on the pavement. You're looking down on the ground. So, this answer is going to be fairly large. Okay? This is not a billboard as you're driving down the highway. Okay? This is pavement that we're talking about. So that formula right there gives the optimal height of the letters. D is the distance of the driver from the letters. H is the height of the eyes above the pavement. I guess it could be if you're driving a car. I was thinking more, being above. All of the distances are in meters. You have D and E listed there for you. Right here. Use the calculator and figure it out. You've got the formula. Go start typing. What'd you get for the top? What'd you get for the top of that bracket? 32 something? Yep. Right? So we got that part. What what are we going to divide by? 2.1. Okay, this is meters. We're talking like 50 feet. The letters are 50 feet. That's 5 stories. Okay, that's some pretty big letters you just wrote on the ground. But that's why I was thinking it was more up above, like you're trying to look down on some sort of runway or something. But the letters have to be large. Okay, now, well, what you're doing is plugging in the 2 values that they have written right there. Plus you got your calculator. Question 11. I need you to write both of these things in fractional exponent form. X to what power, x to what power. Write them in fractional exponent form. Sometimes they get the wrong answer. Okay, so what's the top going to be? X to the what power? Come on, power over the root. 3/5 and 3/6. Power over the root. Now, when we multiply like bases, we added the exponents. What did we teach you back in Algebra 1 about dividing like bases? What do you do with those exponents? So I heard the word, yes. No? So okay, let me back up. Let me use whole numbers. Maybe this will make more sense. When we did questions like this in Algebra 1, x to the 7th over x to the 3rd, what would you tell me is your simplified answer? No. Okay? If you want me to write out the ugly version of this, I can. There's 7 of these x's being multiplied together on the top. There's 3 being multiplied on the bottom. How many of the x's cancel out? 3 of them, right? 1, 2, 3. How many does that leave you with in the numerator? 4. So you ended up with x to the 4th. Can you tell me what do we do with 7 and 3 to make it turn into a 4? Subtraction is the correct answer. Thank you. I did hear somebody say that, but then kind of backed away from it. We are subtracting those things. 3/5 minus 3/6. We need common denominators. What's the common denominator between 5 and 6? We have to multiply them together. You are right, because there is nothing in common between 5 and 6. So we are forced to multiply and this one by 6 and this one by 5. So we have 18 minus 15 all over 30. You're right. So what is 18 minus? Right up there I have my 18 minus 15. So we have 3 over 30, which reduces. Good observation. It reduces to 1/10. There are 2 answers I will accept. Ms. Valentine, what was yours? I will accept x to the 1/10. That is a good answer. Now, you need to write down its radical counterpart. What's the other one? What's the other acceptable answer that I would take? Nice job. What's the other? Inside there. Okay. Yeah, don't be tripping. Okay, which root are we talking about? Which root are we talking about? The 10th root of x. Okay, that's the other acceptable answer that I was looking for. Many of you got it. Power over the root. Okay, question 12. What one was that? Was that 11? No. 11, okay. Okay, first, I want you to change radical 5 into its fractional exponent. 5 to the what? 5 to the... No, 5 squared and radical 5 are not the same thing. 1/2 is correct, right? Power over the root. Power over the root. Okay, now change the next one. 5 to the 1/7. Okay? What are we going to be doing with these two exponents? Adding, right? And when we do that, what happens to the 5? Stays the same. Thank you very much. Doesn't change to 25. Some people like to say 25. No, that's going to stay the same. So 1/2 plus 1/7, what's the common denominator? 14, so I'll have to multiply that one by 2. And I'll have to multiply this one by 7. So that would be 7 plus 2 all over 14. What is 7 plus 2 over 14? Okay, yes. Oh, we had a sprinkler in the room. Okay, so there's 2 acceptable answers. One of them will have a fractional exponent. One of them will have a radical. Write them both down. One of the acceptable answers will have x to a fractional exponent. And then one of them will be something. Great question. Where did I get the x from? Here's a funny story. Okay? Yeah, well, I threw it in there on accident, and here's why. Because I did this question last period, and like 4 people in the room changed it from a 5 to an x. And I got that stuck in my brain, and I did exactly the same mistake they did. I'm like, what in the world, man? That's embarrassing.
So would it be 14?
So, yeah, it should be 5. Thank you very much for catching that mistake. Okay. Some people got 5 to the 9/14. That is true. What root are we dealing with? What root? The 14th root of 5 to what power? 9.
Wait, no, I said that earlier.
Okay, write it down first so that you have proof. Okay? Yeah. We had 2 weeks off, but we need a vacation. Okay. Okay, please don't drive me up a wall today, you two. Yeah. Okay, change that to its fractional exponent form. 5 to the what? Thank you. And the bottom, 5 to the 1/8. What are you going to do to those 2 exponents? Well, when you are dividing like bases, we don't add the exponent. Subtract. Excellent idea. Okay. Oh, my goodness. Seriously, I can't handle it.
No, I'm seeing them, and I gotta move them. There's nothing to see each other. Seriously. Why can't they move on their own? We're literally the best buddies.
Okay, focus on the math, please.
Let's start with the worst we have right now.
So far, we have the individual. Okay, you bring up this sign is for this. I really need you to leave it somewhere else. Okay? I just bring it in here. When you started changing it, that's when I started thinking of other things too. What's the common denominator here? What's the common denominator? 16, so you must multiply that one by 2. Well, multiplying by 1 wouldn't change anything, so that's not gonna. If you did, it's not gonna do anything. It's not gonna hurt anything. You're not gonna lose any credit. So what is that fraction? It is not 1/16, but you're close. Okay, what is 1 minus 2? So it's negative 1/16. Okay, now, so far we are dealing with 5 to the negative 1/16 power. I do not want your answer to have any negative exponents in it. So we are going to look at this differently. Can you tell me how to rewrite, let me circle something in blue here. You tell me how to rewrite this as a radical, the part in blue. Okay, so the 16th root of 5, right? That's the part in the blue. Anything in the universe can be divided by 1. We have right in front of that 1/16, a negative 1. And we have talked about how to deal with that. What word did I use for that negative 1 exponent? When we had, you can even look back in your notes right now and see something where we dealt with negative exponents. And we said root, and we said power, and we said flip. So right now, I need you to understand what that word means and do something with that fraction.
That's why it's just differently. Okay. So show me how you do it. Okay, so what I did is that
Yeah, I've got one at home. Okay, so when you flipped it, what went on the top? What went on the top when you flipped it? 1. What went on the bottom? 16th root of 5. That's all you had to do was flip that thing over. Okay. You guys have those notes written down? Okay, because we're moving on. Okay, jump down to 17. Now, the beginning of this question, hello? The beginning of this question, I need you to focus your attention right here. Do you notice there's the flip involved in that? Do you see the negative exponent? Okay, so I'm going to help you out here by showing you that anything can be divided by 1, so in order to get rid of that and make this problem a whole lot easier for you, we're going to flip just that part. So we've got negative 343 on the top, but now x to the 6th is on the bottom. What root are we talking about here? What root? A cube root, right? So this is the cube root of negative 343 and the cube root of x to the 6th. You can simplify the top and the bottom, and you need to do both. Look back, if you don't know what to do with the bottom, as a few people have not known this morning, then you should go look at your notes and find something that'll help you. Because that thing on the bottom is something we've done in previous sections. Yes, you'll need a calculator for the top, probably. So, use a machine. Yeah, he said negative 7. so most of you did get the numerator correct. You got -7 on the top. Several of you were second guessing what to do with the bottom. I remember asking you this question several times. Does 3 go into 6? So what does that give me on the bottom? What do I... X squared. So that 2 becomes the exponent. Several of you thought about the 2, but you didn't know what to do with it. So, just remember that from our previous lessons. There were no leftover x's. There was nothing trapped inside the radical because we had a perfect cube on the bottom. Okay, question 19. Okay, when you multiply like bases, what do you do with these exponents? You add them together. Good answer. We need common denominators to do that. What should we do? Multiply the first one by 2, top and bottom. So we have 4 plus 1 on the top, and 10, the common denominator on the bottom, which is? Okay. And said, yeah, several of you said the reduced form of that, which is 1/2. Write down the 2 acceptable answers to this question. Write down 2 answers that I will accept for this question. I'll take either one. I'm just, for practice, I want you to write both down. That is correct. Even if you have to raise it up higher so that it looks like this. But if you did put a 2 on the outside, I can't take off. Good. Here, not there. Yeah. So several of you did get this correct. X to the 1/2 was one of the answers. What's the radical version? Okay, now, question. When I write square root x like that, what is the index? It's an automatic 2. Alright? Some of you physically wrote a 2 on the outside. Is there anything wrong with that? No, there's nothing wrong with it. In this case, if you did leave it off, I would automatically know it's a 2. You would still get the credit. If it were anything else, like a 3 or a 5 or something like that, then you would lose. But either one of those. Question 20. Question 20. We're dividing like bases. What are we going to do with these exponents? Subtract them. What? Over here, yes, we do. To get common denominators, you're right. We have to get 14 for the, and that is going to give me 6 minus 3 all over 14. Okay, finish the question. I want 2 answers. Finish the question. I want 2 answers. Yeah. I do feel honored by your background. You know what? If you make mistakes like that on the test, because really what I'm trying to see is what's going on with the exponent. You just swap the letter out like that. Make sure that exponent looks like an exponent and not like 3 over 14 times. Okay? Okay, so hopefully you got 3 over 14, and one of your correct answers was y to the 3 over 14's power. I want to caution some of you to make sure that you make your exponent look like an exponent. If we start getting sloppy and then it doesn't look like an exponent, you actually change the value of what we're dealing with. The radical version of that, what root are we dealing with? The 14th root. Good answer. Of y to the 3rd. Any questions on any of those? I said, do you have any questions on any of those? I think that's our last one. All right. You have earned a break.